Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Manosphere. I am your host, Coach Will Martell, and if you haven't gotten the opportunity, please like, share, comment, and subscribe. Well, today's episode of the Manosphere may be a little somber, even maybe a little quiet, and you probably are seeing something different out of me, something a little more calmer, not full of energy, and things of that nature. Today's episode is dedicated to a brother, a dear friend, and probably one of the best performers that had never been discovered by a big wrestling company. That man, his name is Tim Saylor. His wrestling name, however, was the Iceman, Tim Norton. And him and I went way back. We went way back to about 2000. I believe it was 2001 or 2002. I had met him while we were on our travels. My tag team partner and I, we were on our travels around the circuit, and we had ended up in AWA Slam. And that's where I met this gentleman. People could say, well, he was a great guy, but, I hung out with him. I broke bread with him, and today's episode, I'm sorry, today's episode is going to be a little tough because of the fact that this was a young man. You got to understand something. This was a young man. He was 37 years old and had so much more life to live yet. And then when this happens, it kind of puts it all in proper perspective. And it is this, okay? And I'm going to go back into the history of how I know Iceman in a few seconds. But if you don't take anything away from this episode or any that I've ever done with the moniker "Every Day Above Ground is a Good Day," which I stole from Scarface, and that is a very, very true statement. Every day above ground is a good day. In fact, every day above ground is a great day. Okay? Understand me. It is a great day. There is no problem too big that you can't handle. There is no problem too small you can't handle. And I would just like to address this too. If there are those of you that have heat with someone, and in case you don't know what that is, it is a term that we used in the wrestling business when someone had a problem with somebody or they had a beef with them. We called it having heat with that person. So look at it like this. Those you have heat with today may not be around tomorrow. And those of you that are giving roses now to those that have passed, don't give them roses when they're gone. Give them roses while they are still here. And I understand that sometimes life gets busy. Life gets incredibly busy for people. Oh, before I continue, I am having a beer for this young man because this is what we used to do before and after a match at certain places. We would have a beer, and then I'll just tell you that story in a minute. Anyhow, this beer is for the Iceman. This beer is for brother Tim. And I'm not going to pour out any liquor for the brothers that are not here, because this man deserves one on me. Anyhow, as I was saying, don't give roses to people when they're gone. Give them roses when they're here. Tell them how much they mean to you. And like I just said before, I understand life gets busy. Life gets incredibly busy. And you might not have time to reach out to the people that you want to. You might not have time, but you make that time. Even if it is, just to swap a text back and forth. Do that. Because it's going to show the other person, yeah, that person responded to me, they care and all that stuff. But like I said, life gets incredibly busy, but don't jump on a bandwagon and give people roses when they are no longer here. And back to Mr. Tim. And that's what I used to call him. I used to call him Timberlake. Because there was a time that we had gone out, and we had gone to a club up on, I guess it was Broadway. It might have been Broadway or Belmont or something like that in Chicago's on Chicago's north side. And Bringing Sexy Back came on, and he got on the floor and he cut a rug and stuff like that. Had all the ladies dancing around him and all that stuff. And it was entertaining. It was entertaining. And Tim and I had a couple of times that we had gone out. One particular time we had gone out, and that was I think that was St. Patty's Day, I think, of 2010. And we had gone out, and we had gone and hit a karaoke club, and he sang Simple Man. And it was so terrible because he was so drunk. He was so drunk, and it was so terrible that you couldn't help but cheer him on, because everybody got into it. So we were all at the bar, like, really messed up. So that was one one of many times that I've gone out with him, and I was totally entertained by him. And I remember we went out this one other time, and he met this chick, and he disappeared. Anyhow. Tim was a great guy, and he had a crap load of charisma in the ring. Okay. Tim, God, oh man, this is so tough. This is really tough. I can't even believe right now I am sitting in front of the camera doing this eulogy of sorts on a guy that I thought was going to be around a long, long time. I really did. And there were a couple of stories, and I think I talked to my good friend Mike Stover today over the phone, because he called me and I was sleeping because I was working until like 5 or 6 a.m. this morning on a project, and I had just gone to sleep. And I woke up and Mike called, and we talked about Tim. And one thing that came up was a story that I never told anybody. And here was a story. I think I had a falling out with the wrestling company that I worked with, that was ran by a great friend of mine. That for whatever reason he seems to have heat with me. I don't have heat with him. I got none but love for anybody that wrestles with that had ever wrestled with that company. Nothing but love for him. But anyhow, I digress. Well, anyhow, Tim Tim called me, and he was kind of and I had many conversations with Tim. I mean, a lot of conversations, and I used to be on the phone with him for the better part of a few hours talking about these problems with the company. So we came up with this great idea. And he was the one to bring it up. He said, "Hey, Will," he said, "do you realize that out of all of the years we've known each other, that we've never, ever worked against each other in the ring?" And I said, "You know what? Come to think of it, we haven't." I said, "We've tag teamed like dozens of times over the years, but we've never, ever went against each other in the ring." And he said, "Man, that would be a good match." And I said, "Yep." I said, "So we need to start training and practicing for it. Even if we don't do it for the UWC, maybe we could do it for another company. Maybe we can go to Boz or somebody." And that's what we were thinking about, because we knew since we had never gone against each other before in the ring, and we were good friends, that we could have that chemistry in the ring, even if I was a heel and he was a babyface. Which, for those of you that don't know, that's a good guy and a bad guy. So here I am thinking, and the wheels are turning. I'm like, man, this could be really good. So us putting our creative minds together came up with this idea that we were going to do the match kind of like Randy Savage and Ricky Steamboat from WrestleMania 3. Not move for move or anything like that, but the blueprint for that was that Macho and Rick Steamboat had gotten together for about 3 or 4 months before WrestleMania 3, and they practiced that entire match from bell to bell. That's why the match was so good. Now, it wasn't in any way rehearsed. It was that they went over the same moves over and over again until it became like you picking up an object, a pencil or a pen, and writing with it. So they wanted to be sure that the match was going to be good. So Tim and I were like, yeah, you know what? That could work. And I said, yeah, that could work. Let's do it. So we would go, he had the keys to the old B warehouse in Chicago. He had the keys. So we would get together 3 or 4 times a week. It might have been, before I had to go to work and he had to go to work. So we would get together like in the mornings, and it was just like we thought of it as this: going to the gym. That's what we thought. But him and I were running spots. We were running drop downs, leapfrogs, hip tosses. I mean, all of that. We did the whole deal. And it was getting really good. I think the fans would have been really, really entertained by it, because I think I was going to take the role of the heel, and he was going to be the babyface, and we were going to like work this really, really great match out and try to steal the show at somebody's company. We didn't know where this match would end up. I was thinking maybe Chicago All-Star was going to get it, because I had a great relationship with him at the time, and Tim used to go over there to work, and just like a lot of the other guys that I knew, the crew and whatnot, and we would, we had this great idea for it, and it just never happened, and I wish it did. I wish it did, because maybe that could have been one of the toppings on a cake for him. See, the thing about Tim was, Tim had this dream. I mean, he had many dreams. I mean, I've known about probably 3 or 4 of them, but the dream that he had was that he wanted to get respect. within the business that he loved so much. He wanted to go out like a lot of the big guys go out, with a retirement thing and all of that. And yeah, now, although he retired twice and everything, he wanted that big, that really, really big send off. And he never got it. And I know in the sorts that's sad. And it is. It is, because I think out of all of the times that Tim really, he brought people in. Okay, now this was pointed out by a friend of mine, my brother, Nate. This was pointed out by him exactly a couple of weeks ago, was it, when we got on the subject? Because there's this video out, this web series that's out, and we were kind of talking back and forth about it. And he said, man, you know what? I got to admit, Tim really did bring in the people, at those shows. And I said, yeah, he did. And I had to admit, yes, he did. He was a money guy there. I'm not gonna lie. And for those of you that disagree, you can't disagree with it. Whomever's watching this that was around that situation at the time, you can't disagree that Iceman Tim Norton was bringing the people in. I used to think it was BS, and then I had to really, really actually think about it. I'm like, yep, a lot of those people were for him. And that's the truth, Ruth. Whoever don't like it, tough titty, but it's true. Anyhow, he wanted that big send-off. He wanted to be recognized in the independent wrestling world as not only someone that was a good performer, that was a good worker in the ring, that was really, really magnetic because people liked him. He had a personality that people genuinely liked. They genuinely liked him. And he was the life of the party. I mean, he really was. He'd walk in the room and get the party started. I mean, you knew the party was starting when Iceman walked in the room. I mean, there you go. So, anyhow, I'm gonna wrap this up by saying this. And I want each and every person out there to listen to this very carefully, because this is the most important thing that Coach Will Martell will ever say to the viewing audience out there. And that is this: love people while they're here. Okay? If you have a problem with somebody, iron out those problems, skip it and move on. Do not hold grudges. Do not, try to browbeat somebody for what they did yesterday. Look, yesterday is gone and today is today. Today is the day that you start over. Okay? When you wake up every morning, thank God you're still here. Wipe off all of that crap. Okay? And having a problem with another human being over something that happened 10 years ago, that happened 20 years ago. It is not worth it. Because guess what? That person that you got heat with could be gone just like that. And that's a 100% shoot. Okay? If you have a problem with somebody, find out where they're at. Talk to them about it. Just iron it out. Just iron it out. You know what I learned? I learned that life, and this particular, you lose family, you lose family, and you lose friends, and things like that. And yeah, okay, we all do. It's a part of life, basically. It's a part of life. But here's the deal. This thing kind of hit home a little bit because this is a person that you just thought, okay, I'll pick up the phone and I'll call him. I'll see how he's doing. Yeah, I'll pick up the, I mean, you just always thought that that person was going to be around. And I guess we all think like that as human beings. But the most important thing you're going to ever hear out this video today is drop the beef, call up that good friend or somebody that used to be your friend that you've had this really bad problem with, or this family member you had a really bad problem with. You call them and you say, hey, how are you doing? Hey, let's squash this beef and move on. Let's start over. Do something like that. Because that person that you have that beef with, that you have that problem with, or you may not be here to straighten the problem out. And this phrase is often used, but it never gets old. You're here today, but you can possibly be gone tomorrow. This is Will Martell from the Manosphere saying so long, and remember, and take this with you. Believe in this. Every day above ground is a good day. See you soon.